Hey, what's up? This is Cody the Coin Raptor, and in today's video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about what happened today with the Bitcoin price, and we're also going to go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin chart TA as well as Ethereum, and we're going to go and talk about the CPI numbers that were released today and what they mean for the crypto market. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here, and we're going to look directly at the CoinGlass perpetual futures chart here because we had something very interesting happen today. And as we can see here during an open interest, which gives us an idea of how many contracts are currently being opened up for Bitcoin, we can see that it's actually been on an uptrend all the way since about the 9th or so of July. We're seeing this big uptrend here, which means more and more contracts are being opened. We've seen a little bit here and then come all the way back down again, but for the most part, an uptrend all the way up into today. So what's interesting about today is that we had CPI numbers come out. They were actually fairly bullish, and so we had more of these traders enter into contracts. They pushed the Bitcoin price all the way up here to almost 31,000, and then these sellers came in and the buyers for these contracts got liquidated. So we can see down here we have a huge red liquidation candle. This is telling us that about 11 million liquidations happened during about this hour or so. And so that also drove the price all the way down here to about 30,200. Okay, so we're seeing right now in the derivatives market with these contracts, we're seeing an increasing amount of volatility, and your open interest remains elevated, which means that we're going to wind up seeing more volatility throughout the week. Now, if we take a look at our regular Bitcoin chart here, I have the daily, and we can actually zoom in here and take a look at the hourly. Now, one level I've been really paying attention to lately has been the 200 hourly. Now, if you guys are following my TA on Twitter, this is something I've pointed out quite a few times, but what we're seeing right now is it's struggling to get above that 200 hourly level and stay above there. So we had it go up there about Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then it came back down again, and now it is currently being used as resistance for Bitcoin. So what we need to see right now for Bitcoin is for it to find some support, which it looks like it is, and then push higher into that 31 and a half, 31.5 region where this massive liquidation pool is. So we're actually starting to see a little bit of that. We can actually see a little bit of an uptrend started here for the Bitcoin price. Hopefully we can get some more momentum and then have it actually push even higher and into that liquidation pool. If we zoom out and take a look at our daily RSI, and again, our relative strength index, which tells us how many people have been buying. We're going to turn this on here. I'm going to take a look at your RSI, and we see that the RSI is at 57. So not too oversold, not too overbought. It's kind of in the middle right now. So there is a little bit of momentum left for Bitcoin to push higher and into this area here. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our Ethereum chart TA as well. Ethereum has been also kind of range bound, just like with Bitcoin, but also just like with Bitcoin, we can see almost a short-term uptrend here from about Friday of last week. And we'll see what happens here with the Ethereum chart if it actually bounces off this support level that's currently at right now at about 1868, and we'll see if it can move even higher. But if it moves a little bit higher, what you're looking at is resistance here at 1900, and then more resistance here at 1930, and then at 1974. But one of the biggest things I want to talk about today is the dollar index. Okay, the dollar index, and this is something I've talked about quite a few times on this channel, but I haven't talked about it recently. The dollar index, I went and I kind of mapped out this downtrend, this down channel here, and we can see that it has a habit of coming up here and then selling off, and then coming up and selling off, and coming up and selling off. We've seen 3 separate points at which it's sold off greatly, and the dollar index right now is getting crushed. So the dollar index represents the strength of the dollar versus other currencies, and we have I've put in the support level right here at about 100, and when I put the support level in, I said it's going to come down to this level. And it did, and it went all the way through that level, and now it's at about 100. So the dollar index has fallen so dramatically. It was all the way up here at about 104. Now it's all the way down to 100. So the dollar is weakening versus other currencies, and that is bullish for Bitcoin. It's bullish for crypto, because the dollar index and Bitcoin tend to share an inverse relationship. When the dollar index goes up, Bitcoin goes down, and when the dollar index goes down, Bitcoin tends to go up. Right now, it's kind of sideways, but if you looked at the actual Bitcoin chart, you can see that there is a very clear uptrend that's still intact in the long term in Bitcoin. And as a result, we have the dollar index also in this pretty long downtrend that started back in November. So if you overlay the two charts, you can definitely see the dollar index on a huge downslope and Bitcoin on an upslope. So this is very important to pay attention to. I'll be watching this. We'll see where this finally finds support. If we actually extended this down a little bit, we can probably get support down here at about just under 100, about 99 or so, and we'll see where support lies for the dollar. Next thing I want to talk about is the CPI, or Consumer Price Index. CPI came out today, and it was very bullish. Again, they kind of expected, the market was expecting it was going to be 3.1. It actually came in below here at about 3.0. So inflation is dropping faster than people are expecting. And again, that's bullish for crypto, and that's bullish for Bitcoin, because the Fed doesn't have to raise rates fast, and they can pause or even start cutting. In fact, if we take a look at our FedWatch tool, the market, however, doesn't seem to really take this into account, because they're still saying there's a 94% chance of the Fed hiking rates another 25 basis points at the next meeting on July 26th. But we'll see. This could definitely change before that meeting happens, and we could actually wind up seeing the Fed instead of raising, they could wind up pausing as well. Now, another important thing I want to talk about is that the Department of Justice, the DOJ, has a significant amount of Bitcoin in their possession, and right now they're moving it around from place to place. So what we can see here is that they got these Bitcoin from the Silk Road. That was the black market site. People bought certain illicit substances with crypto, and they're moving this around from wallet to wallet. They've moved approximately 9,800 Bitcoin, and they've moved it around worth about $302 million. They've moved it around from various wallets. No idea yet if they're going to sell, but this is something I'm paying attention to. And if they do wind up selling, we could wind up seeing a little bit of downward pressure in the Bitcoin price. So speaking of potential sellers, I also want to go ahead and talk about the miner's reserve. So the miner's reserve is the number of Bitcoins held in miners' wallets. And what we're seeing right now is that over the last 3 or 4 weeks, miners have not really been selling. We had kind of a bottoming here on the 19th of June, and now we're starting to see it's climbing back up again. We have an uptrend. So miners right now are stacking sats, and they are not selling. And this is really important, because if Bitcoin is to push above that 31,500 level, then the miners need to stop selling and pushing the price down. And so far, that's what we're seeing in the last couple of weeks. That's primarily the reason why the Bitcoin price has stabilized above 30K. Now, if we take a look at our Bitcoin spent output profit ratio, or SOPR, we can see here that any sellers are currently selling in profit. They're above this dotted line, the 1 level, and that kind of means that they are selling in profit. So again, a very good sign. Now, there's also something I want to talk about in regards to the traditional markets, and something that could affect crypto, and that is earnings happening on Friday. So Friday earnings, what we have here on Earnings Whispers, we have major banks that are reporting: JP Morgan Chase, we have Citi, we have Wells Fargo, and very interestingly enough, we have BlackRock reporting. So if you guys remember, BlackRock filed for a Bitcoin ETF. We're going to see. I'm going to pay attention to BlackRock's earnings and see if they mention Bitcoin at all, or they talk about this process in which they've tried to get that Bitcoin ETF approved by the SEC. This will be very interesting to pay attention to. But Friday, we could wind up seeing more volatility than usual, because we have a lot of these financial companies that are going to be reporting. And then tomorrow, on Thursday, we have the core PPI numbers come out. I expect those to come out lower than expected, just like with our CPI, that's a producer price index. And I expect these numbers will be lower, pointing towards a lower rate of inflation. Again, very bullish. And Friday, we have consumer sentiment. I think that's going to be very interesting to see that and see what that is. And that's about it for this week. Now, next week, we have some huge events coming up as well, but I'll cover that in a future video. And if you guys are interested in seeing that, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to follow me on Twitter. I'm now on Threads as well, so if you guys are on Threads, check me out on Threads. It's still at the Coin Raptor, and follow me there. Okay, so that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys are doing. Let me know what you guys think. Can we finally push Bitcoin above 31,500 and get into that liquidation pool? Leave a comment below. Let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.